Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. My name is Daniel and I'm the High Mileage Helper. On this channel, my goal is to be able to help you learn more about the RV transporting industry, as well as give how-to videos for your truck, and then give recommendations along the way. So this is our first time meeting. Just consider subscribing, hitting the like button if you get good value. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about restoring fuel economy to your truck, and especially older trucks or high mileage trucks. And we'll go ahead and get right into the video. All right, so the idea of restoring fuel economy, it sounds like it sounds like an easy button type of a solution. But the truth is, it's pretty complex. I don't really hear anybody else talking about this type of thing. Maybe it's just an obvious thing, or maybe just people don't think this critically of different parts of the vehicle. But I've got a truck now that's got over 560,000 miles. I'm at 564, 612 right now, and my truck has gone through high points where I have much higher fuel economy, and then lower fuel economy. And for me, driving during, and for me doing this job, transporting RVs, that affects my bottom dollar. That changes my income. That is a pay increase or a pay decrease. Even just 1 mile per gallon is a very significant amount of money over the long haul. Over the long term. And so it's very important for us as transporters, or anybody with your truck, to maintain that higher fuel economy with whatever you do have, whatever that high number is, to be able to try to maintain that as best as we can. And so I've just kind of noticed over time, when we have these parts that go bad, when we have injectors finally go, like I did at 405, when I have a wheel bearing hub assembly go out, when I have a caliper mount get the pins completely rusted in, and my brake pads are almost constantly on my rotor, and the truck's pulling a little bit to the right or a little to the left. These things really add up. And so in this video, I just wanted to talk through some of these things with you, and so maybe this can help you try to diagnose and find out what areas on your truck is there more friction than there should be? Are there problematic areas that you haven't addressed, that you haven't looked at? The main thing that really this is going to cover in this video is just friction. When things are rubbing together, your truck, your engine, your transmission, everything's going to have to work slightly harder. I just had my wheel hub assembly go out on me, and then I had to replace my complete caliper and caliper mount because the actual push pins that go back, and the slider pins that go back and forth to release the brake pads and the caliper from the actual rotor, they were completely seized up. I don't know how. I always grease them. I grease them on a regular basis, but somehow this time water got in there, something moisture got in there, and it got eaten up alive. I couldn't even bust them free, and so that was constantly putting more pressure because it was always in the locked position. There was no room for it to release, and so I can now notice that I'm not pulling slightly to the right. So for me, there's a serious cost in allowing these types of things to go for long periods of time. With my injectors that went out at 405, 100,000 miles, I can't exactly just check on them anytime I want to. I don't know, ripping apart an engine and going through those things. I'm not that guy. I'd love to be someday, but I'm just not there. And so, I noticed over time, a long period of time, a subtle change. When I got, after 100,000 miles, 200, 300, I started noticing, there's a breaking in point that the guys talk about with a diesel truck, a diesel engine. It needs to be broken in, and so your fuel economy at the beginning might not be that great, but then it gets slightly better. Parts in your engine, everything starts to get its own groove, and maybe that can turn it ugly if things continue changing inside. But the main thing is, my injectors, I got better fuel economy as I went on. And towards the end, I was getting some of the best fuel economy. So I personally believe that there is a point where things need to kind of get their own groove. And then at some point, you're going to hit that max, efficiency. And then from there, it's going to go back down again. That's kind of the bell effect. And maybe on the tail end of that, the bell effect kind of drops off. But on all of these different systems, depending on the friction and all these different things, there can be a drastic change in fuel economy. And so just for example, my wheel hub assembly and on the caliper mount, replacing that whole assembly, the caliper itself as well, I no longer have a caliper mount with those push pins that are seized up and locked in that position where things are just very, very tight, and it's kind of slightly pulling to one side. My wheel hub assembly, that's another point. Anything that's moving, anything that has to be greased, anything that has to be constantly maintained because it needs lubrication in some way or another, those are vulnerable points for our trucks, for any vehicle. And so when you don't have those maintained, or if the part is getting to the point where it's about to fail, those are areas where we need to be looking out for. Those are areas that are technically robbing us of our fuel economy. And the truth is, they can have a slow death. Some of these parts that we have on our trucks, they can go a long while and they be basically already dead. They just haven't let us know yet. And so we're being robbed of our fuel economy on these parts on our trucks. And so I'm no diesel mechanic. I don't know everything, but I do know what I've experienced. I generally get 10 to maybe 11 fuel economy pulling any trailer, travel trailer, fifth wheels, going just about any direction. It can vary between there, but the truth is it's around there. And I've just noticed after I've replaced the caliper mount with those push pins that were seized up, brand new, ready to go, installed, good to go, as well as my other hub assembly, I've noticed that there is a drastic change. It feels like I don't have as much resistance as I'm just simply going down the road. And so it's noticeable there, but it's also noticeable at my fuel economy. And obviously, our trucks are not the best at calculating fuel efficiency, fuel economy. It's best to do it hand calculated all the time if you're going to give hard numbers. But the truth is, on mine, just going off of what it says, I have been getting somewhere in the 10.5 range, 10.5 mpg, and right now I'm getting actually 11.7. I don't have a tailwind. I'm not going any slower than I go normally. I go 65 miles an hour when I'm loaded any direction that I go. And so for me, I'm noticing a significant increase in fuel economy. I replaced my left wheel hub assembly when I was out on the road because it bit the dust. I've got a video talking through the signs, the symptoms, and the failure, and then sharing my story with this recent failure of mine. But and then I replaced the other one as well to be at the same time to be able to know that this one's not going to go out today or tomorrow. So I really wanted to make sure that I was going to be set up for that side as well, and that's where I found those push rods that were completely, both of them were seized up in that caliper mount. So anyways, it might be a different thing for you, but the truth is these are the types of things that are robbing us every day as we travel down the road, whether for hire or for not, for personal use, and it's taking money out of our pocket because we don't get that fuel back. We don't get a check in the mail after replacing a part because now we're going to be getting more fuel, out of each gallon because there's less friction. We're not going to get those things back. And so it's very important for us to stay on top of these things. Anything that can have friction on it, which is a lot of different parts on our truck, try to maintain those parts, to be consistent, to test and to see if there's anything that is about to fail, to maybe even preemptively change those parts like I did with that other wheel hub assembly. I'm noticing just a significant difference. So anyways, I'm not going to be able to go through everything with you, but just some of these issues, it happens so often, and I notice each time I replace these parts, these different things on my truck, I notice sometimes a small increase or a larger increase, which isn't, 5 miles a gallon, but it's significant enough. And so for us to save money, for us to essentially be getting a bigger paycheck out on the road, because we're doing these small things, maintaining these parts that could very well last a long time, but they're slowly failing and they're robbing us. This is the way we can kind of get our fuel economy restored, keep money in our pocket, and be better off in the long term. So hopefully this video was a help to you. If it was, just hit the like button and let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. Are there any parts that you think for your truck you need to preemptively change, or get some more maintenance done to make sure things don't seize up, that there's not more friction than there should really be? Go ahead and check that out, and let me know if you see any fuel increase in your truck, so that can help your bottom dollar. And with all that being said, hopefully you have a great day today. Stay safe, guys, and God bless.